Victor always had a knack for getting his way. Blessed with good looks and a magnetic personality, he could charm anyone, from strict teachers to skeptical shopkeepers. His mother, Diane, often boasted about her son's bright future. She saw him as someone destined for greatness, far beyond their small-town life. After graduating high school, Victor moved to the city to avoid military service and enrolled in a food science university, one of the few places that would accept his lackluster grades. Within a year, Victor returned home for a visit, driving a flashy new car and flashing a gold bracelet. His stories of city life dazzled everyone, including Diane, who eagerly shared updates about her son's success. He was supposedly modeling, making money, and even buying property. Victor didn't visit home often, but when he did, it was always in style. He'd gather his old classmates at fancy restaurants, picking up the tab for the entire evening. To his mother, this was proof that her son was doing well. So, when Diane learned that Victor had a girlfriend in the city, she decided it was time to meet her future daughter-in-law. Without telling Victor, she took the train and arrived unannounced at his upscale apartment. When Diane arrived at the address, she felt a swell of pride. It was a luxury building with a concierge. She introduced herself as Victor's mother, and the concierge called up to the apartment. The door was answered by a plain-looking woman in her 30s, wearing simple clothes and looking slightly frazzled. "Hi, I'm Diane," she said, stepping into the apartment without hesitation. "Victor's mother. And you must be his housekeeper?" The woman blinked in surprise. "I'm Melissa," she said calmly. "Actually, I'm Victor's girlfriend." Diane's smile froze. The apartment was a disaster zone. Pizza boxes, empty bottles, and cigarette butts were strewn across the table. The smell of stale beer lingered in the air. Diane couldn't believe her eyes. "You're his girlfriend?" Diane asked, her tone sharp. "And what's with this mess? Grab a mop and clean this place up. My son doesn't live like this." Melissa looked at Diane, unimpressed. "Actually, we have a cleaning service," she said with a shrug. "They'll handle it." "Well, you should have cleaned up before I got here," Diane snapped. "If you're going to call yourself my son's girlfriend, you'd better start acting like it. And while you're at it, make me something to eat." Melissa raised an eyebrow but didn't argue. She microwaved a leftover slice of pizza and set out some cheese and crackers. Diane wrinkled her nose but ate anyway, muttering complaints about the state of the apartment. "This place is nice," Diane said between bites. "But Victor could do much better for himself. He needs someone with class, and a family that has something to offer." "No offense, but you don't seem like his type." Melissa, calm as ever, asked, "And why would you say that?" Diane smirked. "Look at you, plain as can be, no pedigree, probably from some backwoods town. My son deserves a partner who can match his potential. Maybe you should pack your things and head back to wherever you came from. Let him find someone better suited to his future." Melissa opened her mouth to reply, but Diane waved her off. "No need to argue," Diane said. "I'm here now, and we'll sort all this out. You can go whenever you like, I'll wait for Victor." Melissa gave her a long, measured look, then grabbed her purse and left without a word. Diane settled into the least-stained chair, confident she'd done the right thing for her son. As Diane waited for Victor to come home, she felt triumphant. She had done what any good mother would do, ensured her son wasn't trapped by someone beneath him. In her mind, Melissa was just a distraction, and Victor would thank her for stepping in. She relaxed on the couch, scrolling through her phone and occasionally grimacing at the cluttered apartment. "A cleaning service," she muttered. "That girl can't even keep a house in order." It wasn't long before Victor called. "Hey, Mom," he said, his voice cheerful. "What's up?" "Oh, nothing," Diane replied nonchalantly. "I'm just at your apartment." Victor's tone shifted instantly. "What? My apartment? What are you doing there?" "Well, I thought it was time to meet this girlfriend of yours," Diane said, her voice laced with pride. So I came to see for myself. And don't worry, I've already taken care of the situation. The silence on the other end of the line stretched uncomfortably. Then Victor asked, his voice tight, "What exactly do you mean by taken care of?" "I told that Melissa girl to leave," Diane said, as if it were the most obvious thing in the world. "She's clearly not right for you. No ambition, no class. You deserve someone better, someone who can help you build a future, not drag you down." The panic in Victor's voice was immediate. "Mom, what did you do? Melissa left?" "Yes, and good riddance," Diane snapped. "Honestly, I don't know what you saw in her." "Mom!" Victor practically shouted. "Do you even know whose apartment this is?" Diane frowned. "What do you mean? It's your apartment, isn't it?" "No, Mom," Victor groaned. "This is Melissa's apartment. Everything in it, everything I've been showing off, belongs to her. The car, the furniture, even the food in the fridge. And you just kicked her out?" Diane froze, the phone pressed to her ear. "You mean this isn't your place?" "No, Mom," Victor said, exasperated. "I've been staying here because Melissa let me. She's been supporting me while I figure things out. And now she's gone, because of you." Diane's mind raced. All the images she'd proudly shown to her friends, the fancy car, the high-end apartment, weren't Victor's at all. Her perfect, successful son wasn't living the life she had imagined. Diane felt the blood drain from her face. "You're telling me," she said slowly, "that all this belongs to her? The car, the apartment, everything?" "Yes, Mom," Victor snapped. "Melissa let me stay here while I worked things out. She trusted me. And now you've gone and ruined everything." Diane tried to recover her composure. "Well, maybe it's for the best," she said, attempting to sound confident. "A man shouldn't rely on a woman like that. You're better off starting fresh, finding someone more suitable. You've got so much potential, Victor. I'm sure you'll land on your feet." But Victor wasn't buying it. "Do you even hear yourself? Melissa wasn't just some random girl. She cared about me, and she had connections, real connections. Her family is well off, and her dad's a big deal in local government. Now what am I supposed to do? She's not going to forgive me for this, and I can't exactly go back to her like nothing happened." Diane's jaw dropped. "Wait a minute," she said, her voice rising. "You're telling me this woman, this plain, unremarkable girl, comes from a wealthy family? And you didn't think to tell me?" "Of course, I didn't tell you," Victor shot back. "I knew you'd find some way to mess it up. And look what happened, you barged in here and treated her like dirt. You just couldn't help yourself, could you?" For the first time in a long while, Diane found herself speechless. The gravity of her mistake began to sink in. Melissa wasn't just some girlfriend. She was Victor's ticket to the kind of future Diane had always dreamed of for him. Diane's hands trembled as she clutched the phone. "Victor," she began, her voice softer now, "I had no idea. If I'd known Melissa was so important to you, I wouldn't have said anything." "Too late for that now, Mom," Victor said bitterly. "Do you know what her father will think when she tells him about this? He's not the kind of guy you want as an enemy. And I doubt Melissa's going to paint me in a good light after you humiliated her in her own home." Diane swallowed hard. "There has to be a way to fix this," she said. "I'll talk to her, explain the misunderstanding. She'll listen to reason if I—" Victor cut her off with a bitter laugh. "Reason? You barged into her apartment, insulted her, called her unworthy, and threw her out like trash. There's no coming back from that, Mom." His words stung, but Diane wasn't ready to give up. "Victor, you're my son. I was only trying to protect you. I didn't want you tied down to someone who—" "Stop," Victor interrupted. "Melissa wasn't tying me down. She was helping me stand on my own 2 feet, something I haven't managed to do on my own because you've always treated me like I could do no wrong. Look where that's gotten me." Diane bristled at the accusation. "I gave you everything I could, Victor. I just wanted you to have a better life than your father and I did. And you thought wrecking my relationship was the way to do that?" Victor shot back. The line went quiet. Diane felt an overwhelming wave of regret. For all her good intentions, she had overstepped and cost her son far more than she realized. "Victor," she said finally, "just tell me what I can do to make this right." But her son's voice was heavy with resignation. "I don't think you can, Mom.